So this is a Jutte, which means 10 hands, Ju being 10 and Te being hand. It was a Japanese police weapon originally, like the Kusari Fundo. There's a few techniques. I'm just going to show a couple of techniques that I learnt in Japan, plus some of the traditional sort of forms that we study with this. There's not much material on it. Yeah, so it's basically just a steel bar with a little prong used for obviously catching swords and stuff like that, trapping swords and a whole bunch of different reasons. Not necessarily trapping, it's more of a striking weapon. But yeah, as you can imagine, that wrapped across the knuckles, this is quite heavy, would make you pretty much drop any weapon that you've got. So we're starting in Kumiuchi, which is where you grab your opponent's lapel each and then the opposite elbow like that. Okay. Starting in this Kumiuchi, then we're coming down here like this, reaching over and grabbing the Jutte and just locking it like that. Try and keep it in your belt if you can. But sometimes it'll slip out, but just play around with it and get the feeling of both. Okay. So yeah. So I'm just coming down here like this, grabbing that, reaching up and just grabbing the handle of the Jutte and then just turning it into here and just turning backwards. And as Rob would probably tell you, that is quite painful. So the next technique here, we're in this Kumiuchi again. And all we're going to do here is we're going to draw it and strike his ribs and then capture him in a nikudaki with the weapon. So a nikudaki means to crush the demon or to break the demon's horn off. Yeah, so very similar to shihodori, the movement of the arm. Just in this Kumiuchi, I'm just going to step out to the side, strike the ribs, put that hand on the inside, this one on the outside, and then capture the Jutte like that, and then you're just stepping back like that. If you wanted to take him down, you could just step down like that, and you've got him in a control position, like that. So like this, we're going to take the Jutte out, press it into there, and then we're going to whack him into the ribs, and then press that in there between his ribs and that, and then we're taking him out with this. And then you're in a position where you can hit him. And the key point to this is when you grab the Jutte off him, grab it with the palm up, like that. So normally it'll be held like a dagger, like about there. And so you want to grab it with the palm up like that. Don't grab it like that. So here, bang, whack, into there. Oh, you're right. Yeah, so for this one here, coming out here, pinning that in there so that he just wants to get it out. Okay. So the other way is to strike with the butt of the handle there. Then you can bring the arm out to the side to twist the spine to get them into that. And then, yeah. Okay, so the next technique we're going to do here is just when you've got a Jutte, they've got no Jutte. So come up here, and he's just standing there, and this is basically just a basic arresting technique. Okay, so I'm just going to pull the Jutte out and try and get to this side of him. Okay, and then I'm just going to place it in there and capture him in that. Okay, so what you're doing is you're placing this hand in that way. Like that. So yeah, so in there, and then just reaching around to grab the back, and just stepping around behind him, and then Officer Tahu can come up and make an arrest. So yeah, so this technique here, he's got the sword out, like this, and this technique here we're going to start off in Seigan, so we've got the hand at the hip, all like this, and the Jutte's pointing at his eyes, like that, and he's just going to come and cut straight down, and we're going to step to the side like that. Okay, so that if I missed it or whatever, yep, I'm not going to get cut first and foremost. Okay, so yeah, step here like this, and then you trap the blade, and then take them in that kote gosh with the trapped blade, and then put them on the bone of his hand if you want them to let go. Yeah. So this one here, this technique here, we're starting off in this kamae here. Okay, so it's pointing. We can start off like that, where it's pointing at his eyes or whatever, and then we're just leaning forward to offer him our head. So that if he cuts down and I don't move, so yeah, he's just going to chop my head off, or usually people cut with kisagiri, slight angle, but yeah, for these we're cutting with a straight down daijodan. Something Toby Threadgill pointed out to us once was that apparently they changed the technique so that the cutting down was aimed at the wrists and not the head. And he said that the reason for that was because some Yakuza guy came to training and he's like going to the master, how come every time I cut the head it bounces off and cuts the ear off? And all this, and apparently this guy was speaking from experience, so yeah, so they changed the kata so that it aimed at the wrists with that same style of cut but different target. But anyway, this one in particular, we're aiming at the head. So we're aiming here, we're rocking down, yep, and then here we're just coming up here and whacking him on there, and then just pressing the point in like that. Okay. So you can just run them back into the wall and pin them like that and get someone else to come in there or whatever. But yep, so whack into there, and then you can step forward and then step back and take a sword off them. Whack like that, step in there, and see here how I'm taking the sword. It's coming up through the, if you see that there, it's coming up through that weak point. Okay? So if I've stepped forward like that with this leg, I can step back and really sort of rip it off him, and now I've got the weapon. Basically it's just stepping to the side and striking. So yeah, so here I'm stepping across like this and using it like a shield, almost like that. So it doesn't matter if it hits it or not. You know, you don't need to hit it. You can just leap over and strike him with that too. So, yeah. Okay, so this one here, we're hiding the Jutte behind our back. He's going to come and cut down. We're just going to step out and strike him on the wrist, and then we're just going to turn and put that under his armpit there like that. And you see how I've got this grip. Stepping out and just striking that off, and just collecting that there with the prong, and then just taking that sword. And you'll find that the way of taking the sword is the same way. So it's the same way as before. It's taking it out of that grip. So yeah, striking and then taking it up like that. And yeah, using that.